there you are. My name is Carl Childers, and I, like most, am an unlikely hero. However, I'm on a crusade to spread enlightenment and change the world, and I need your help. That's right. Over the next 25 minutes, I want to talk to you about how we can work together to change the world. You didn't know you were going to be heroes when you woke up this morning. You probably didn't feel like it after last night either. However, you are going to be heroes. And together, we're going to change the world. These guys, I give you the future of content. It is immersive, it is interactive, and it can be very disruptive to presentations and to markets. See what I did there? Oh, let's get rid of these guys. Entertainment and everything about content is changing completely. The way we create it, the way we store it, the way we distribute it, and the way we consume it. It's all evolving rapidly because of the proliferation of innovative new hardware platforms like smart glasses. They don't really look like this yet, but they will. That's more like Bono Vox right there. Head-mounted displays and visors. These new innovative technologies, they are ushering in the next wave, and the shift towards augmented reality and virtual reality is now here. The promise of alternate realities has always been great. You know what the premise is? You put on some goggles, right? And you don't go anywhere, but you can be transported anywhere. You know, it took about 6 decades for the idea, the germ, the seed that is alternate reality to get here. It tried to commercialize, but every time there was a misstep or a miscue, and it is because of those things that happen that this medium got relegated to, oh, it's a gimmick, or it's for geeks, or it's for gamers. It's true. It is absolutely disrupting the gaming industry. And I believe that this shift is actually one of the most innovative and brightest advances in modern technology. And it has challenged some of the most brilliant minds in technology to take what was once a far-fetched idea and turn it into reality. And boy, have they. You might have heard of this guy before, Mark Zuckerberg. In case you've been living under a rock, he created a small platform named Facebook. Last year, he put on a head-mounted display called the Oculus Rift. 2 weeks later, or rather 2 months later, he owned the company. He paid $2.3 billion cash. They said that they locked themselves in a room for 3 days until they worked the deal out. But why? What did he see? I'll tell you what he saw. This medium is the next social defining moment. It is the next big thing. You see, Mark Zuckerberg built his empire based upon connections that are deep and being connected to the people you love and the content you love. And what he saw is that now the world is your computing platform. Right about the same time, a previously unknown company in the augmented reality sector named Magic Leap, in a B round of funding, they got $542 million. That is an amazing amount of money. How did they do that? I'll tell you. They got a group of investors with the likes of Google and Legendary Films and a plethora of other people. And they put them in a conference room. And then they strapped these goggles on them and they go, hey, look up. And they looked up and the people saw dragons flying into the rooms. and the president and CEO of Legendary Films, his name's Mike Tolley. Now, this man is in the business of wowing people. He is in the business of content creation at the highest level. He is used to virtual effects, and that he can't be impressed, but he was quoted as saying, "I couldn't get my smile off my face as he was stumbling into the parking lot, fumbling with his phone, trying to call his office, basically to ship a bunch of money." Why? Why? Because they saw the future too that day. And the future is the world is your silver screen. So now the world is your computing platform. The world's your silver screen, right? Here's the deal. You connect people with their childhood dreams of limitless creativity and innovations, and you have struck gold. And they know that. They know that. I love this kid right here. He's great. Limitless innovation as a kid. Now think about it. Do you remember when everything was possible? You know, and then it happens. We all grow up, right? And we have to push those childish dreams away. But you know what? Come to find out, childish dreams are a huge business. It's a huge business. So market analysts, DigiCapital, they're also an investment bank. They do research on mobile trends all over the globe. And they looked at the augmented reality and virtual reality sector, and they hypothesized that in the next 5 years, this market will explode from right about now, and I'm not joking. Literally, from in the next 8 weeks or so, it's going to skyrocket from 0 to $150 billion in 5 years. $150 billion. And you know what? Lucky for every person that can hear me, content is the foundation upon which this whole market will be judged and built. And here's the thing about that. The amount of content that will be needed and the rate at which it will be needed has not ever been seen before. But you know what? You have your work cut out for you. But I don't feel sorry for you, because you are content creators, you are innovators, you are connected to powerful brands with amazing stories through an innovative and world-class platform like IZEA. You are at ground zero of success. And it's the biggest market evolution since mobile and the internet. It's $150 billion, and you're at ground zero. You're lucky. There's not too many times in this world where you will actually hit it right with everything. So let's look at it. What is virtual reality? It's also known as immersive multimedia. And within the market over the next 5 years, it's expected to have tens of millions of users, probably in the high tens of millions. And that's a lot. So what is the goal of virtual reality? The goal of virtual reality is to create an environment that simulates your physical presence in that environment. Now, presence is the key driver for virtual reality. And presence happens when the content that you create is so immersive that it tricks your mind into believing that what it is seeing is real. And it is very powerful and visceral connections. You know, the state of the market today is this. Mostly what you'll find, which is very innovative, and I want you all to think about this, especially bloggers, or you might have a cooking show, or whatever the case may be, you can get what's called a 360-degree camera. And this is basically what's offered in the first version of virtual reality, okay? So it can put you in an environment, be it the pyramids, the International Space Station. It will put you there from a fixed point. And that fixed point is where the camera was when it was recording the information. But the beautiful thing is, these innovative cameras are proliferating. GoPro has them and other people have them, so Google it. It's how you can get involved in virtual reality today, essentially. All right, so moving on from 360-degree video, this is where it really can start to deliver on the promise, where you are in an environment where your physical presence is grounded there and you believe it, and then you can walk around in this environment and explore this 3D space and interact with the content. That is the next step. So what am I saying? How many people like sports here? I love football, okay? So here's the thing about football. Imagine this. Imagine watching a real football game while it's being played live and in real time. But you having the choice to be able to personalize your perspective. What does that mean? That means you can be on the field where the quarterback is standing, where the running back is standing. You can move in and out of the content. You can be at the 20-yard line. You can be at the 50-yard line. What I'm saying is that there's no limitations anymore. It's like a game, but it's a real 3D environment. So at my company at Hexie, sometimes we like to talk about, football game. Imagine taking the perspective of the ball, the tip of the ball, right, as it leaves the hands of the quarterback and flies 40 yards down the field into the outstretched hands of a wide receiver that is in full stride that goes in for a touchdown. And then sweeping time, which means rewinding time, and seeing from another perspective the ball come into the receiver's hands. It is possible. That is where we are at. That is innovation, and it can be done. And innovators and creators are working on these things. What was once only possible in your dreams is now a reality. One of the most exciting avenues of virtual reality is 3D product placement, commercials. I love this part gets me very excited because if virtual reality elicits very deep and meaningful connections, and the goal of virtual reality is to connect you with immersive content, think about what that could do for your content creation, for your stories, for your brands. You know, what I believe is that these 3D holograms, which you can create today with tool sets. Windows 10 comes hologram enabled. You have tool sets there to create them. You could do it today and other ones. But you can create holograms that will be put deeper into the environment and thus deeper into the reality of the people that are watching this in more deep and meaningful ways. Imagine watching a commercial where it's a shampoo commercial. This is a friend of mine, so he's going to love it that he just appeared 20 feet by whatever that is. But imagine the shampoo commercial, and the premise is your hair smells great and makes you look good. And you're watching it with a pair of smart glasses on, and all of a sudden you hear those pesky claws on the floor, and you look up, and a life-size raptor that your mind actually thinks is real is walking through, steps over your couch, goes around you, and sniffs. What kind of reaction do you think you would have? Now, whether you would want a raptor actually doing that is irregardless of the point that I am making here. Because I don't know that I would. But, you know, interchange that with what you would like to see. Maybe some of you would love for Brad Pitt to come and hand you, a glass of water or whatever the case may be. It is possible. And it is reality now. So, here's the deal about connections. What you see is real. I read about a study group where there was about 30 individuals of all ages, and they're in a room, and they're being told, okay, when you put on these goggles, what you see is not real. You are really in this room, okay? So you are grounded in this world. But what you are going to see is you will be standing at the edge of a cliff, and you will be looking over. And we want you to know that it's not real. And they're like, well, of course it's not real. So they put it on. And they're like, what you are seeing is not real. People fall to the floor and start backing away from it and feeling like this. People are shaking, and they say, take a step forward. And nobody can. Now, they know that they're in a room. They were being told this the whole time. They were like, what you see isn't real. Just step forward. What you see isn't real. Step forward. And nobody can. Their fight and flight system is in high alert because it protects us from perceived danger. So what does that say? Do I want to walk off a cliff? No. But what I'm saying is that they are so immersed in the content and so connected with it that they believe that what they see is real, and their response to it is visceral. That is power. That is absolute power. Augmented reality. It's going to be bigger than virtual reality. It's going to pervade our whole lives. It will go well beyond the extension of content, and it will go well beyond the extensions of commercials and stories. It will be involved in things like the Internet of Things, where everything has a presence, and everything has to be projected in holograms, which have to be created by innovative and creative content people like yourselves, okay? But here's the thing of augmented reality. I just said virtual reality is going to have tens of millions of users with a $20 billion market cap in 5 years. Who wants some of that money? I do. Augmented reality is set to have hundreds of millions of users. Hundreds of millions. Because here's how we have to think about those. Your phones and your tablets already have very powerful sensors, and they have powerful cameras, and they can already render quality 3D assets. So essentially, the analysts say that augmented reality is going to cannibalize the infrastructure of mobile. So what does that mean? 10 years from now, maybe we won't be looking at our phones anymore. Your phones will be in a device. And this is not science fiction. The prototypes are out, and people are working on it, and it's real. And here's the lucky part. Content has infiltrated absolutely everything we do. We want to consume it 24 hours a day, right? It is a very powerful force in our world. Lucky for you guys, you control that power. You really do. And I want you to take away from this, and we'll get to it in a second, and I'll tell you how we're going to save the world together and become heroes and make a lot of money. And that sounds pretty good for a Friday afternoon. But here's the thing. Content can be an enabler of a more enlightened society. But how do we do that? It's just content. No, it's not. See, here's the deal. With smart glasses, what you're doing is you're putting them on your face, right? So what you are not doing is this. I don't see you guys anymore. The world is gone. I am disconnected so that I can connect to the content that I care about and I need. But I can't see you, and I cannot take in the world around me. And connections are an innate. There's no matter what we try and do, we have innate desires to connect to the people we care about, to the content we care about, to the stories we care about. And so I argue, and I'm guilty, and everybody is, because that's just where the market is we're all like this, disconnecting ourselves from the world. But how do we foster a more enlightened society? Well, by supporting the adoption of technologies like smart glasses or visors. And visors are just a fancy word for something that's more like a shield in front of you. Okay, Microsoft has a HoloLens product that is a self-contained holographic computing device. It is a visor, okay? So by supporting these types of technology, what we are really doing is we are fostering a heads-up computing world where we can take in the world around us as we consume the content that we so desire. You know, these innovations like augmented reality have already made their ways into the windshields of high-end cars. where you can drive and look through holograms, and your brains are very powerful enough to see through them without being overly distracted and see the road in front of you. You know what scares me, and you know why I get passionate about this, is because with people in their phones and they're driving down the road, and I say that 80% of the cars that I see in Atlanta, the people aren't even looking at the road. Not only are they not going like this, but a couple of weeks ago, a lady goes past me so fast, it wasn't even funny, and in a blur, I saw her like this, driving a 5,500-pound truck, not even looking at the road. She is cut off from the world. And this is how we can become heroes. We foster the enlightenment of a heads-up technology where people can take in the world and take in the content around them. At the same time, there is a huge market taking off where we can make pretty good money, and happy people and successful people with a great cause can do amazing things. And the thing about content and connections in this market, the content portion in and of itself is big business. It's $20 billion just for the content. No hardware, no nothing. But I argue that if each one of you hear at least a piece of what I'm saying, and you realize that you do have a role to play in this nascent market that's about to take off, and you can contribute to the adoptions of heads-up computing and foster a more enlightened society, that this number of 20 billion will have to be revisited. VR and AR can deliver because, again, and I say this again and again and again, but life is all about connections. You know how it is when you meet those certain people that become your friends or like family? It's about connections. And the movies that move you in life, you're connected to the story or the character. AR and VR can deliver these to you every single day, wherever you're at. Now, I'm not suggesting that strapping on a goggle is going to replace going out and actually seeing the world. It's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is when you can't go, you can either create for other people places and experience that they might not be able to offer. You can time travel every single day. Here's your journey. This is the cause that I want you to take up in whatever small or large measure, okay? You can read yourself. Your journey is to challenge technology, to foster a more responsible and thus enlightened world. Make a bunch of money along the way. Have fun. There's nothing wrong with that. And here's the deal. To content creators, to you brands, to investors that give us all the rocket fuel to do what we're inspired to do. This industry is wide open for all of us, from content to storage to distribution and consumption. It is all a wide open field for creativity and innovation. You can make a difference. You can be involved. The market is depending upon you. And what I argue is a safer world and a more enlightened world is depending upon you. And I think more people need to spread enlightenment more. I think big business sometimes and businesses don't do that enough. And I get it. But what kind of world are we really fostering by keep going down a road where we become more and more disconnected? That's not natural. I'm guilty of it. My daughter just told me last week, get your face out of your phone. She's 7, and she was right. It was a beautiful day, and I'm sitting in the side porch, and I'm sitting like this, consuming content, which is awesome that I'm consuming content, but she's totally right. Get your face out of your phone. So where are we today? This year, these innovative devices that were made out of cardboard, they're essentially viewfinders. When I was a kid, they had these viewfinders that you put a disc in and you click the button and it goes one picture after another. These are more like those. So what you do is you drop a phone in the back and you can download an app and you can experience a 360-degree video. There's been a couple of million of those that have been sent out. And Google is sending out another 1 million at the beginning of November. So we are just at the beginning of that. And then augmented reality, there are applications, and there are more industrial installations. But really, what I'm here to tell you is that 2016, and that's like what, 9, 10 weeks away, is when this takes off. Because in the first quarter, high-end virtual reality platforms are releasing from major companies. And not only that, last week, our CFO was talking to a global public relations firm. And what they said to us is, every single major client that we talk to across the globe, every single one of them, if they don't bring it up first, then the client brings it up about establishing some form of virtual reality or augmented reality initiative. They're going to need you people in this room to do that. So it is on everybody's mind. The future is here. There's $150 billion at stake. There's a heads-up computing world can foster an enlightened society. The world is now your computing platform. The world is now your silver screen. You have no limitations anymore. You need to throw out the language that we have developed over the past 100 and so years since moving pictures on how to tell stories. Throw it all out, because you know what? We have to reinvent it all for this medium. And you get to have a part in that. Are you ready? Are you ready to miss $150 billion? No, I don't think you are. Are you ready to get involved? Even if it's 360-degree video. Go Google virtual reality, augmented reality if you haven't. Google what the market is saying. Google what investors are doing. Google the players in it. I have a hashtag up there. Now, I get very passionate, and I'm sorry if you felt like I was preaching at you. I love this technology because it's not about the technology, it's about a bigger cause. And again, that's having a more connected world and spreading enlightenment. That is safer. Safer for my children and for all of us. So, if you have technical questions or want to continue the conversation, please use that. Thank you.
Awesome job. Thank you so much. Big round of applause.